What's going on, guys? The Comics Kid 2099 here. Welcome to day 269 of the 365-day graphic novel review challenge. Today, I want to talk to you about another BPRD book. This is The Soul of Venice and Other Stories. Now, if you've been keeping up with my reviews of Hellboy that I did a couple months ago and some of my more recent Hellboy reviews, there are two types of Hellboy stories. There are the very heavily arc-based stories that have to do with Hellboy rising in the ranks of hell and leading a hellish army and destroying the world, being the bringer of the apocalypse and stuff like that. And then you have stories that don't really have anything to do with that at all and just feature Hellboy on various missions for the BPRD, or after he leaves the BPRD, just going and meeting various forms of evil and combating them on his own time. So there are the arc-based stories and what I call the standalone stories that don't really have anything to do with the overall arc. And generally with Hellboy, I preferred the arc-based stories, but I didn't mind the standalone stories. But if I had to choose, I would say I would rather have the arc-based stories, or at the very least have them occur at a higher frequency than what they did. With the BPRD, what I'm finding here is that I don't mind if this entire series decides to do what this volume did and kind of what volume 1 did, where everything is just standalone stories and there really isn't much of an arc. I don't really have to see some overall grand plan with the BPRD like there is with Hellboy. With Hellboy, from the beginning, it was clear that there was some kind of plan about the future of the character and the future of the franchise and what was in store for the character. And so whenever you had entire volumes that didn't really focus on that, I was a little bit disappointed. Now, I still enjoyed the stories for the most part, so it wasn't a total loss, but I did find myself wishing that we could have more stories that focused on his destiny as possibly the bringer of Armageddon. Here, since we don't have any hints of that from the beginning, it doesn't bother me when right out the gate we're having a story or actually several unconnected stories instead of one larger story. And this has a bunch of really good stories here, just like the previous volume. We have some that are done by various different artists, which that's another thing that I find I don't mind here, and it took me a little longer to get used to with Hellboy. Hellboy, to me, felt like Mike Mignola's creation through and through. From the beginning, he was the writer, he was the artist. He had a little bit of help with John Byrne scripting in the first volume, but then it was like 8 volumes before he was starting to let other people kind of help him out. Duncan Fegredo was kind of helping him out a little bit, and then Richard Corbin helped him out on a few stories, but still, I feel like Hellboy is mostly Mignola's thing. But here, it seems like since this spin-off started around the same time that Mignola was letting people like Duncan Fegredo and Richard Corbin help him out on stories every now and then, that with this series, he didn't have as much of a need to control every aspect of the series. And I'm not saying that it's bad that he wants to control every aspect of Hellboy. It's his character, he created it, and I understand him wanting to make sure that somebody doesn't come in and just do whatever they want with it. He wants to have some involvement with the character and with the series. He might want to have a lot of involvement with the series, and that's understandable. That's okay because it's his character. But here, I don't feel like his involvement is as heavy as it is in Hellboy, and so what's really cool here is getting to see different artists bring their own take to this series. For example, we have Michael Oeming, who I've said before, I'm a huge fan of his work. He does a story here that is really awesome, and then we have also Scott Collins, who did the two Avengers origin, not really origin, but they were Avengers stories. I can't remember what they were called. I think it was 2 miniseries. He did one of them called Earth's Mightiest Heroes, I think. It was either Earth's Mightiest Heroes or United They Stand, but he did that miniseries that I really love that was written by Joe Casey, and his art is really great here. It looks awesome. He did a Roger the Homunculus kind of solo story, and I like that one quite a bit. Oeming, he did the one, if I'm not mistaken, he didn't do Soul of Venice, I don't think. He might have. He might have done the first story here where they meet a vampire in Venice. But lots of different artists involved with this book, and they each kind of get to bring their own style and take to these characters and kind of explore different aspects of this world, which is really cool. I like that a lot. So overall, if you like the franchise here, if you like the ideas behind this series, the premise of this series, if you liked Volume 1, definitely you need to check out Volume 2, The Soul of Venice and Other Stories. I like this one quite a bit. I think that you guys will probably like it as well. And tomorrow, I will be talking to you about another Mike Mignola project. In the meantime, I will see you guys in the future. Have a great rest of the day. Catch you later.